everyone, my name's Danielle and welcome to another episode of Board Game Bakes. This is a fun show where we make board game themed pieces and components from some of your favorite games. This week we're going to feature Santorini. Santorini is a fun 2 to 4 player game, though admittedly I've only played it as 2 people. In the game you move your people around the board and you get to build up the cities and win like gods. So we're literally going to make the entire game except for the people. So we're going to make, I at least made from a box, a brownie base, and then we're going to make a graham cracker fondant board, and then 3 layers we're going to make out of marshmallows, and then the top layer is half of a macaron. Yeah, it really is that much stuff and a lot of work, but I think it all came together, so let's get started. I determined that the inside square of the board is 8 inches by 8 inches, and each little square in the middle of the board is 1.5 inches. The first step was to add a little bit of green dye to some white fondant and mix it to get the color. Then you want to roll it out so it's nice and thin, and make sure that you have at least the 8x8 component for your board. And you have to make sure that you draw out your board spaces. Later on we're going to outline them in white icing, but it's nice to just have this base. Next I used a fine knife just to do some little bores on the outside to match the game board. Now flip over your fondant and use some royal icing just to make some squiggles. I use some royal icing to help glue on some graham crackers. It's a little hodgepodge job, but the main thing is to get some graham cracker flavor and to add some support for your board. Once the royal icing is dried, you can flip the board back over. And now I'm going to just compare it to the actual Santorini board to do the outline of the board and the little details that are inside of it. Voila! We have a Santorini board now. Our next task is marshmallows. First step is to line a 9x13 pan with aluminum foil, and then you want to spray it with Pam. Here are the ingredients that we're going to need to make the marshmallows. You can pause it here or look in the description below. Next we want to combine half of our water and all of the gelatin into the mixing bowl, and we want to leave this to bloom for 15 minutes. While you're waiting for the gelatin to bloom, you can mix the cornstarch and the powdered sugar in a bowl, and we're going to use that later on. Next, add your water, light corn syrup, sugar, and salt into the bowl. Now here's the not so fun part. You just have to wait for the sugar to boil. You want to get to 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Since this recipe uses the light corn syrup, it shouldn't crystallize, but I took a tissue to wipe down the sides because apparently my sugar decided that I wanted to get everywhere when I poured it slowly. You see me swirling, not sticking. As it starts to get more bubbly, you may want to check it using your thermometer. Once we've reached 240 degrees, turn off your heat and bring it to your mixer. Turn your mixer on low and very slowly pour the hot sugar mixture. Please be careful. It's really hot. After you've added all of the mixture in there, you want to gradually increase the speed to high. And here's the hard part. You have to let it go for 10 minutes. If you notice, I keep on touching the bowl because you want it to be barely warm. and we're going to see it's going to get really big. Now that it's been 10 minutes, our marshmallows have fluffed up and it's just barely warm. You have to very quickly dump the marshmallow into the pan and spread it out. It's not one of the times where you want to try and get every drop from your bowl or from your spatula. You just want to get as much as you can and then spread it out as quickly as possible before it sets. Now that's mostly flat, use a sieve to spread the cornstarch and powdered sugar mixture over the top, and now you want to let it sit overnight. Now that our mixture is sat overnight, you want to use the sieve again to sprinkle the cornstarch and powdered sugar mixture onto a clean surface and flip it over. Yeah, I didn't think you guys wanted to watch me just cut marshmallows for 10 minutes, but I will show you that I cut out a circle that's the same size as the roof of the Santorini board. So I'm using that to cut out marshmallows to be our third layer. And now we have all our marshmallows for our game. One more stop left on this journey. We've come to the final part of our quest, Macarons. The first thing I did was to take the cap or fourth piece of the Santorini game and outline it on some paper. This way I had a template for the size I want the macarons to be. The recipe I found emphasized the importance of having finely ground ingredients. So right here I have the almond flour, powdered sugar, and salt. And it's going to get pulsed together a few times to make it as finely ground as possible. You may notice that I didn't put any of the ingredients in here, but I'll just put the link to the recipe I used since I'm not a true master of macarons yet. To make it even finer, you're going to put it through a sieve after that. You notice I originally had to go into the wrong bowl. Now right here I'm whisking very quickly egg whites and salt until it gets to soft peaks. Now that it has soft peaks, I'm slowly adding the sugar. You don't want to do this too quickly, otherwise you lose all your air. Now you keep whipping and whipping and whipping until you get stiff peaks. Then add your vanilla extract. And remember to add the blue dye, which I almost forgot to do. You don't want to mix that up too much after this point. Now you add the dry ingredients. I think it's called macaronaging. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to add it by folding and use 3 additions. Once it's all incorporated, you don't want to mix it too much. You just want to be able to make a figure 8 in the sand-like mixture. So this sticks together, so I'm going to say it's good. Now you're going to put it into a piping bag. I didn't have a good tip, so I just cut a hole in the bottom of it. Now I slid the template underneath here, so that's why I know how big to make my macarons. And you just hold it and pipe until it's full. And then you awkwardly struggle with the parchment paper and get it to the right spot to do it all over again. Now theoretically, if you have the right consistency, all the little tips should go in. Some of them I did and some didn't, which is why I'm not a macaron expert. And you put a little bit underneath the parchment paper so it stays put. And now the next part is you want to bang it 5 times. You know, it looks like I only have 3 in this video. After you've tapped the tray, you want to let it sit for 30 minutes to an hour until you can rub your finger across it and it's dry. Then you want to bake it at 300 degrees for about 16 minutes for these since they're a little smaller. And you should see the little pieds, or just the little bottom part form, and should be round on the top and have a little puff, just like we want for our Santorini board. Thanks for watching another episode of Board Game Bakes. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Let me know if there's any games you'd like me to feature on the show. Thanks for sticking with me for all the components. If you want to see my husband and I play taste the game, that'll air Friday at 12 p.m. And it may have ended a little violently, so guess y'all have to tune in to see what exactly I'm talking about. Keep playing games and keep them sweet. Bye!